The first thing I noticed wasn't the paint. It was the silence. My phone buzzed at 6:12 a.m. Camera grid offline. That had never happened before. Not once. I run a small solar array on the side of my house, 12 panels mounted clean, angled perfectly toward the morning sun. They don't just power my garage. They supply the shared security camera loop for half the block. 4 driveway cams. 2 street-facing. 1 at the mailbox cluster. All routed through my battery bank. Redundant. Reliable. Quiet. Until that morning, I stepped outside with my coffee and froze. Every panel was black. Not shadowed. Painted. Thick streaks of matte spray paint across the glass, dripping down the aluminum frames. Someone had taken their time, covered every single panel. I walked closer. You could still see the overspray on the mounting brackets. This wasn't vandalism from a passing kid. This was deliberate, careful, targeted. And I already knew who hated the panels enough to do it. The HOA Karen. She'd complained about them for months. They're an eyesore. They don't match neighborhood aesthetics. They'll affect property values. She tried to fine me once. Tried to claim they weren't architecturally harmonious. I showed her the bylaws. Solar protections were written into state law. She backed off. Publicly. But not gracefully. I looked at the paint again. Fresh. Still slightly tacky. Which meant it had happened overnight. I checked the ground. Footprints in the damp grass along the side of my house. Size small. Light tread. I didn't touch anything. Instead, I walked back inside and checked the battery bank. Charge level, 0 input. Of course. No sunlight through black paint. And without solar input, the auxiliary camera grid had shut down at 3:47 a.m. That timestamp stuck with me. 3:47 a.m. I opened my private interior camera feed. Scrolled back. There she was. Hood up. Gloves on. Holding a spray can. Standing in my side yard. Methodically painting each panel. She even paused between passes to make sure coverage was complete. She looked satisfied. What she didn't know. The neighborhood cameras may run on solar, but they also buffer locally. With motion detection. And cloud sync. Even during temporary power loss. And every angle of her walking up my driveway was already backed up. She thought she was disabling surveillance. Instead, she recorded herself. In high definition. On every approach. And she hadn't realized something even worse. The moment the solar array went offline, an automated alert went out. Not just to me, but to everyone connected to the shared system. For houses. 3 families. 1 retired cop. All received the same message. Power disruption detected. By 6:30 a.m., I wasn't the only one reviewing footage. And she had no idea. She thought she'd silenced the cameras. In reality, she'd just spotlighted herself. And the sun hadn't even fully risen yet. Sun video camera. By 6:45 a.m., my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Group chat. Block watch. Tom, retired cop. Power drop at 3:47 a.m. Anyone else reviewing? Melissa. Yes. Camera 2 caught movement near your driveway. I typed 1 word. Confirmed. Then I exported the clip. Clear angle. Streetlight illumination. Timestamp sharp in the corner. 3:42 a.m. She walks past Melissa's mailbox. 3:44 a.m. She cuts across Tom's driveway. 3:46 a.m. She steps into my side yard. Spray can visible in hand. No disguise beyond a hoodie. No attempt to hide her face from the approach cameras. Because she believed she was about to disable them. That's the mistake people make with systems they don't understand. They assume power equals control. But redundancy equals exposure. I stitched together 4 angles into 1 timeline. Front street cam, driveway cam, side gate cam, interior garage cam, triggered by motion vibration. Each one captured her approach, her pause, her methodical spray passes, and her exit. In full color. At 7:10 a.m., Tom knocked on my door. Coffee in hand. Calm expression. I assume that's who I think it is, he said. I nodded. He watched the footage in silence. When it ended, he exhaled slowly. She crossed from complaint to criminal. Vandalism, trespassing, property damage, and possibly interference with shared surveillance infrastructure. That last one mattered, because while the panels were mine, the camera grid served multiple homes. At 7:32 a.m., she posted in the neighborhood group. Has anyone noticed the solar glare recently? It's becoming disruptive. The audacity almost impressed me. Within minutes, replies started appearing. Melissa. Interesting timing. Tom. Very interesting. I didn't comment. Not yet. Instead, I called a solar technician for an inspection estimate. Damage assessment matters before confrontation. Paint had fully blocked photovoltaic absorption. Cleaning might work. Replacement might be required. Either way, the cost wouldn't be small. Around 9 a.m., she walked past my house. Slower than usual, glancing at the panels. Probably expecting panic. Maybe expecting anger. Instead, she saw me calmly pressure washing the mounting brackets. Not the panels, just the frame. Because I didn't want to disturb evidence. She stopped at the edge of the lawn. Something happened to your panels? She asked. I looked at her evenly. Yeah, I said. It was recorded. A flicker. Just a small one. But it was there. She forced a smile. Well, that's unfortunate. Unfortunate. As if paint just falls from the sky at 3:47 a.m. As if cameras don't timestamp everything. She walked away quickly. By noon, homeowners had already downloaded copies of the footage. Redundancy works both ways. She didn't just vandalize my panels. She involved half the block. And she still believed the cameras were dead. What she didn't realize, the solar array going offline triggered a preservation protocol. Every camera clip from the prior 12 hours was automatically archived. Locked. Backed up. Time-stamped. And shareable. She thought darkness protected her. Instead, it preserved her. And by lunchtime, the evidence was already multiplying. Video camera. At 1:15 p.m., I filed the police report. Not dramatic. Not emotional. Just facts. Time of incident. The estimated damage. Certified solar installation invoice. A video footage from 4 camera angles. The officer reviewing the clips didn't need commentary. The timestamp spoke for itself. You know her? He asked. Yes. He nodded slowly. Clear identification. No mask. No hesitation. No ambiguity. He gave me a case number and told me a patrol unit would make contact later that afternoon. I didn't post anything online. Didn't confront her publicly. Because escalation isn't about volume. It's about sequence. At 3:40 p.m., a patrol car pulled into her driveway. Neighbors noticed immediately. Front doors opened. Curtains shifted. The officer spoke to her on the porch. At first, she looked confused. Then irritated. Then pale. Even from across the street, body language tells a story. Hands moving defensively. Head shaking. Finger pointing toward my house. The officer didn't react. Just listened. Then showed her something on his tablet. The footage. Her shoulders dropped. You can spot the exact moment someone realizes denial won't work. She tried another tactic. You could see it. Talking faster. Gesturing toward the panels. Probably claiming she was fixing glare or protecting community standards. Intent doesn't erase paint. And paint doesn't erase video. The officer handed her paperwork. Citation issued. Criminal mischief. Trespassing. Property damage. He left 5 minutes later. She didn't come outside again that evening. By 6 p.m., the neighborhood group chat exploded. Not from me. From Tom. He posted a neutral message. Reminder, tampering with shared infrastructure affects everyone. No names. No accusations. Just implication. The replies rolled in. Unbelievable. Who would do that? Hope they're held accountable. She didn't comment. But something else happened that night. The solar technician sent me a preliminary estimate. Professional solvent cleaning might restore partial function. But because the paint was oil-based and baked under sunlight even briefly, 2 panels would likely need replacement. Total estimate, just over $6,800. And that didn't include labor for removal and reinstallation. Insurance would cover part, but restitution would follow the police case. I forwarded the estimate to the officer handling it. Documentation matters. Around 8:30 p.m., my doorbell rang. She stood there. No hoodie, no confidence, just tight frustration. "You've made your point," she said. "I didn't need to make one," I replied. "You did. It was just paint." "No," I said calmly. "It was vandalism." She lowered her voice. "Can we handle this privately?" And there it was. Not apology. Containment. Because once legal paperwork starts, control shifts. "Withdraw the report," she said. "I'll pay for cleaning." I shook my head. "You didn't just damage panels. You shut down shared cameras." Silence. That part hadn't occurred to her fully, because she assumed those cameras were a nuisance, not infrastructure. She looked at the driveway camera mounted under my garage light. Small. Quiet. Red LED glowing again now that temporary generator backup was active. "You recorded everything?" she asked softly. "Everything." And she finally understood something crucial. She hadn't attacked an eyesore. She'd attacked a system. And the system had watched her do it. The sun was setting by then. Low light reflecting off black-streaked panels. By morning, they'd be partially cleaned. By next week, fully restored. But her reputation? That damage wasn't surface level. And unlike paint, it doesn't wash off easily. Sun video camera. By the end of the week, the solar technicians arrived. They worked carefully. Specialized solvent. Soft rotary polishers. Panel-by-panel inspection. 2 panels were permanently damaged. Micro-scratching from abrasive paint compounds had reduced output efficiency beyond acceptable tolerance. They had to be replaced. The final invoice came in just under $8,000. Parts. Labor. System recalibration. I forwarded the updated total to the investigating officer. Within days, she was formally charged. Nothing dramatic, misdemeanor vandalism and trespassing. But charges mean court dates. Court dates mean public record. And public record doesn't disappear. Word spread faster than any Facebook post could. Because now it wasn't neighborhood gossip. It was documented. At the next HOA meeting, attendance hit a record high. She still sat at the front table. But her posture had changed. Less commanding. More defensive. Someone raised a hand. "Are we addressing the recent infrastructure incident?" Infrastructure incident. That phrasing mattered. Because it reframed the situation. This wasn't about taste. Or aesthetics. Or solar glare. It was about tampering with systems multiple homeowners relied on. She tried to downplay it. A misunderstanding escalated. But then Tom stood up. Retired cop voice steady. With respect, it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was recorded. Silence filled the room. Nobody argued. Nobody defended her. Because once evidence exists, opinion loses power. A week later, she stepped down from the HOA board. Official reason? Personal matters. Unofficial reason? Authority collapses when credibility does. Meanwhile, the new panels were installed. Shiny. Efficient. Untouched. Output levels returned to normal. The camera grid powered back to full redundancy. But I added something new. A small backup battery expansion. Independent microgrid failover. Even if every panel were covered again, the cameras would run uninterrupted. And this time, I didn't tell anyone. Security works best when it's underestimated. She thought spray paint would silence surveillance. Instead, it amplified it. Because the moment those panels went dark, the system protected itself. And when systems protect themselves, they expose whoever tried to break them. The cameras didn't just capture footage. They captured accountability. And accountability travels faster than sunlight. Sun video camera. Court lasted 12 minutes. No dramatic speeches. No shouting. Just documentation. Video submitted. Invoice verified. Repair estimate confirmed. She avoided eye contact the entire time. When the judge asked if she disputed the footage,
She didn't.
restitution was ordered. Full panel replacement cost, plus court fees, plus probation. The number mattered, but the record mattered more. Because once something is filed, it doesn't become neighborhood drama. It becomes history. After that, the tone of the block shifted. Quieter, more respectful. No more passive-aggressive posts about aesthetic harmony. No more complaints about glare. And, interestingly, 2 neighbors installed solar panels within 3 months. Once fear leaves, adoption follows. As for the security grid, I upgraded it again. Additional battery redundancy, encrypted cloud mirror, and a small sign near the side yard. Simple, subtle. 24/7 video monitoring. Not threatening, just factual. She moved a few months later. No announcement. No farewell post. Just a for sale sign that appeared one weekend and a moving truck shortly after. I didn't celebrate. Didn't gloat. Because the real lesson wasn't about revenge. It was about assumptions. She assumed solar panels were cosmetic. She assumed cameras depended entirely on sunlight. She assumed she could disable what she didn't understand. Instead, she triggered exactly what she was trying to avoid. Attention, evidence, accountability. Paint can block sunlight, but it can't block data. And in a neighborhood wired for redundancy, the only thing that went permanently dark was her authority. Sun video camera.